Have you ever just looked around and felt like the world is losing its way? Or maybe you've looked up at the stars and wondered, what is my real place in all of this? Well, today, we're going to dive into a text that tackles these massive questions head-on. It talks about a journey from total cosmic confusion to a state of boundless wisdom.
We're going to start with this really powerful idea from the Gita. It's this concept of a cosmic balancing act. When Dharma, which you can think of as the fundamental order and righteousness of the universe, starts to decline, a divine force steps in to set things right. And the text we're looking at suggests this isn't just some ancient story, it's a diagnosis of a crisis that happens again and again.
And that, of course, forces us to look at our own time, right? The source material poses a really challenging question. Are we living through one of those declines right now? Is this the crisis of Dharma that the ancient texts were warning us about?
And the questions get even more pointed from there, maybe even a little unsettling. Is our world actually degrading? Has humanity kind of lost its moral compass? The text doesn't pull any punches. It suggests we might be at the peak, or maybe the very bottom, of the Kali Yuga, the age of darkness and spiritual decline in the great cosmic cycle.
So, if the world we see seems to be in crisis, that leads to an even more fundamental question. What's actually real? What can we hold on to? In other words, what is truth?
And this is where the questioning really starts to spiral outwards, challenging our most basic assumption that what we see with our own eyes is the real deal. But what if it isn't? What if our senses are only telling us a tiny part of the story?
Then the questioning turns inward, gets a lot more personal. It's not just about the world out there, it's about us. How did we even get here? How did we become these physical beings, made up of the 5 elements in this temporary mortal world?
From there, the mystery expands from the human to the divine. The source brings up a fascinating possibility. What happened to all the gods and celestial beings from our stories? Could they also be caught in this same cycle? Maybe even living as humans right here among us, with no idea who they truly are?
And that brings us to this big historical question. The religions we're familiar with today are, in the grand scheme of things, pretty new. So the source pushes us to look beyond them and ask, what was the universal law, the true Dharma, that existed before all of them?
So you can see how the questions build, from the personal to the truly cosmic. And if you thought those were big questions, well, get ready to zoom out. Way, way out. We're about to stare into the infinite cosmic mystery.
To even start to get a grip on this, we need a little perspective. The source uses this incredible image. Our entire planet, everything we've ever known, is like the very tip of a single needle, just within our own solar system. That's a pretty humbling place to start.
And just when you think you've got that scale in your head, this idea comes along and completely shatters it. According to the scriptures mentioned in the source, every single second, infinite universes are popping into existence and then vanishing. So our little needle tip is in one solar system, in one galaxy, in one of these countless fleeting universes. It's just mind-blowing.
A concept that massive logically leads to the biggest questions of all. You can see them right here. What are all these universes? Who's the creator, the owner? Who's in charge? And maybe the most important question, is there a place that exists beyond all this constant change? A permanent, immortal world? Okay, so after building this absolute mountain of what seemed like unanswerable questions, the text finally gives us a turning point. It suggests that there is a source for all the answers, a key to unlock every single one of these mysteries.
And that key has a name, Behad Wisdom, which translates to boundless wisdom. The source describes it not as a book or a single teaching, but as a vast ocean of knowledge, an ocean that holds the answer to every single question we've just asked.
So where does this wisdom come from? Well, according to the source, it can only be given by the Supreme Soul. And it has a very practical purpose, to give us the divine roadmap we need to travel from this mortal world back to the immortal one.
There's a brilliant analogy used to explain this. Think about how a baby develops. The soul's journey into this world is just like that. First, it's just a formless seed. That's the inception. Then, a form starts to take shape. And finally, it fully manifests as a physical body made of the 5 elements. It's a journey from the invisible to the visible.
So, if that's the journey into this world, what about the journey out? What's the ultimate goal of the soul, once it's armed with this boundless wisdom? What is its true quest?
This lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? The soul's quest is all about transformation. It's a journey that starts in a world defined by questions and mortality and moves toward a destination of supreme knowledge and immortality. In a way, it's the journey back home.
Can you imagine that, reaching a state where every doubt, every mystery, every single one of these cosmic and personal questions we've been talking about just dissolves? That's the state being described here. Once the soul reaches that ocean of wisdom, the questions just stop. There's no need to ask anymore. There's only knowing.
And that ultimate state of knowing has a name, Param Shanti, or supreme peace. Now, this isn't just the peace of being left alone. This is that deep, profound, unshakable tranquility that only comes from complete understanding. According to the Source, this is the soul's ultimate goal, its final prize.
And so we end right where the text leaves us, with one last thought for you to carry with you. After this whole journey through crisis and mystery and cosmic wonder, we land on this idea of supreme peace. And the final question becomes a personal one. Is this the true purpose of our own quest? That's something to really ponder.